Call into order the Community Preservation Committee meeting for June 23rd, 2021. It is 6:35 p.m. and the meeting, as we just heard, is being recorded. I'm going to start by taking roll call for the minutes, for the sake of the minutes and posterity and all posterity. So we have Andrew Lau, present.
Present.
Thank you. Tatiana?
Present.
Christina Kennedy?
Present.
Eleanor Vances?
Present.
Alan Bingham? Okay. Jahan Habib?
Present.
And Rose White?
Present.
And Heather Highmark? Not yet, right? Okay.
I'm here. Sorry, I'm here.
Oh, great. All right. Vice Chair is here. And then, Alan, do I need to announce that you're here and Lisa's here? Not necessarily, right?
Not necessarily, but yeah, yes, Alan Ignacio, interim CPA manager. And we will have an update later from the Growing Center with Lisa Bracalaccio, and I believe maybe Liza Kitchell, although I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. All right, so usually we start out by asking if there are any public comments, which I'm guessing we don't have any other because nobody from public is here besides Lisa. So I am going to take it to number 1 on the agenda, which is approval of last month's minutes, May 26th. And open that for discussion.
I can throw those up on the screen too. I'll try to get them on the screen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can everyone see that?
Can everyone see that?
Yes, but the echoing started again. Right when you put that up.
I had no comment on the meeting. On the minutes. Oops.
Heather, I think it's. If you could mute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Could be
I think
Rose.
we hear everybody just getting echo effect again, which happened earlier. And Ellen, I hate to pick on you, but I think it's related to your computer somehow. But maybe I'm wrong. Right after something you did last time, it started too.
Apologize. I'll try to take my.
Maybe I'm
Okay,
wrong.
this is an experiment.
All right. I had 2 really minor or relatively minor things on the minutes I was going to put out there. About 2/3 down or 3/4 down on page 2, where it says the survey participation rate this year was significantly lower than in past years. The word past should be in front of the word years. This is about 5 lines up from the bottom. Page 2. And then in roughly the same spot, like almost at the bottom of page 3, there's a sentence that says after additional, some additional, just get rid of that first additional. And then top of page 4, 3 sentences from the bottom of the top paragraph there. You presented the numbers via screen, shares are recited, the estimates, there's something there that think there, what just want to delete the word, so there's something that just did not flow. Shares recited estimates, maybe is what it should say. I think. I was guessing. That's my point, it wasn't clear. And that's all I had. But, oh God, we've got to stop this.
Let me try and play around a little bit with some of the audio sounds. Hold on. Does that help?
Mm-mm.
Laura, can you try muting yourself for just a second? Does that work? Did the echo go away for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's you, Laura. Laura, do you have a set of headphones? That'll solve the problem.
Yeah.
Now, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you've got a weird echo thing going on.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe
Do you
you
have
might.
two devices there, Laura?
Hello.
I have two devices on, but I'm only using one.
No, you're fine.
There's two microphones. Both the microphones are on, so you should just mute one of them.
But wait, did it stop?
I think it's stopped now.
Yeah. Stop now.
Okay. I'm so sorry for the stop start, but that's really crazy making, I have to say. So back to the minutes. Are there any other comments on the minutes from May?
I had two minor edits. On the third page, there's a sentence, would not only any flexibility, and I think that was meant to say would not allow any flexibility. And then just later in that same paragraph, said surveyed the committee for a motion to approve the allocations based on the stagnant levels of the prior year. And maybe stagnant is used as an accounting term, but it has kind of a negative connotation to me, so you might just want to take that out.
Yep. I'll just say based on constant over prior years or something like that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments or edits, suggestions on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, does somebody want to make a motion to approve them?
This is Heather, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay. We'll do a roll call vote then. Heather?
Aye.
She made the motion.
So she doesn't have to, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Andrew?
Andrew
I seconded.
And Tatiana? Tatiana?
Sorry, yes. Did you say my name prior to that? Because I didn't hear it. I heard a weird beeping noise.
Yeah, I'm just doing the minutes approval real quick by roll call.
Oh, I
So,
approve.
yeah, and Christina,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
and Jahan,
Yes.
and Rose. Rose, are you muted?
Yeah, I'm here too. This is Alan Bingham.
Oh,
I'm
you
on my
are. I'm
cell
sorry.
phone. I couldn't get in on the computer.
Okay. So, Alan, you approve the minutes, and Rose? I'm still not hearing Rose, but I see that she's on. Is anybody else hearing Rose? Okay.
That's fine. We can keep her as abstain for now.
Yeah,
We have.
okay. So, motion approved, and moving on to the hiring update over the CPA manager.
Yes. So thank you through the chair. Just wanted to provide a quick update, and I am pleased to announce that we do have a tentative hire. Her name is Ms. Roberta Cameron. I believe she is here tonight and might want to say a few words. I was thrilled to get her application. She has extensive experience in the CPA program. She is currently the CPA coordinator at Malden, on the CPC committee for Medford. And she also has planning and consulting experience as well. So Roberta, I see her on the panelist. If you're on the phone, or if you want to turn your camera on, however, if you'd like, I'm happy to turn the camera, turn the floor over to you if you want to say a few words. And then maybe after, if we all have time, maybe we could each introduce ourselves as committee members and our different roles and backgrounds and the role we play in the CPA.
There I am. Sorry, everyone. I've never actually used, did I lose you? I've never actually used this platform before, so it's new to me and I am still trying to figure out how it works. So thank you for the introduction. You've given my background. I have been I've been so passionately interested in CPA for many years now, and have been involved in so many different levels. I'm thrilled to be able to take this job and work full-time in Somerville to help you with your program. There are just so many different angles from which I find CPA to be interesting and enriching to the community, to the way that that the public sector functions. Really, it just reaches on so many levels. So I'm excited to work with all of you. And I'm not sure what else I can say to you this evening, but I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you.
I think that's great.
Yeah, thank you. Alan, I liked Alan's idea of going around. My name is Laura Beretsky. I'm currently the chair, and I am a general community member rep. And I'll pass it to Christina because she's right below me on that screen.
Hi, Roberta. We're glad to have you on. My name is Christina Kennedy. I'm the Conservation Commission, so the representative from the COMCOM on the CPC.
Turn over to Heather, maybe.
Hi, I'm Heather Highmark. I'm the vice chair of the committee. I am a landscape architect by training. I practice here in Somerville, and I am a community at large member. And I will pass it over to Rose.
I think you're muted, Rose.
Oh, So I tried to, I was muted by, I was trying to talk before. I guess you can mute, we can get muted by the organizer and by ourselves. So I unmuted anyways. I'm Rose White, new, this is my first official CPC meeting. And my background is in affordable housing finance. Yeah. How about Andrew?
Sure. Hi, Roberta. Thanks for joining us this evening. So I'm one of the ex officio members. So I'm actually a public space planner in the city's Public Space and Urban Forestry Division, which is within OSPC, the Office of Strategic Planning and Community Development. My role or my background is in landscape architecture and community planning. Look forward to working with you on CPA and hearing about all your past CPA experience and what you can bring to our committee. And I'll turn it over to Lisa. I don't think you've gone yet.
That's my method. This gets like that.
Okay, Andrew, did you turn it over to Lisa? She's actually speaking on a project.
Yeah.
Apologies. I'll turn it over to Jahan.
Thank you, Andrew. So my name is Jahan Habib. I'm the planning board representative to this committee. And Roberta, I wanted to welcome you and look forward to working with you. Thank you very much. And I will hand it over to Alan if you're on the phone, I believe.
I think that was Alan Bingham. Alan, are you on?
How about Tatiana?
Hi, I'm Tatiana. I'm a community at large member and my background's in historic preservation.
And Eleanor, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Eleanor Rances, and I'm a tenant commissioner for the Somerville Housing Authority. And I work on the Committee for Affordable Housing Trust, and I now enjoy working with these wonderful people on the community preservation.
Okay. And I think that's everybody, unless Alan's out there and we just don't realize it.
Yep. Alan Bingham is the Historical Preservation Commission representative. So give him one last opportunity to introduce himself. If not, I think we can move on to the next item. Unless Roberta has anything else to say or questions for anyone?
No, I am sure that I will have questions and will have more to say when I start working with you.
Great, thanks for stopping by. You're welcome to hang out or keep it in the background, whatever you'd prefer.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Or leave is totally fine.
Okay, then we're going to move on to the project updates from the Community Growing Center.
Okay.
Lisa or Eliza, are you on?
I am on. Can
Great.
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for this opportunity to speak to the CPC in regards to the Friends of the Community Growing Center's grant for the renovation and restoration of the Somerville Community Growing Center site on Vinyl Ave. I'm Lisa Bruglacchio, current president of the board representing the Friends group tonight. First, order of business is that we would like to formally request an extension of our grant period through November of this year to complete the work. COVID and the recovery effects continue to affect availability of vendors and supplies and our volunteers, and the ability to complete all the anticipated elements of the initial project. So we're kind of in the home stretch. It sort of feels like we're on the punch list. So that is the first order of business. We sort of, in the shifting of waiting for Roberta, we sort of lost that period and trying to sort of catch up with that timing. Secondly, Alan had suggested that we share with you what some of those remaining items are. And they're focused primarily on the goals of accessibility, safety, and promotion of urban agriculture, and just ensuring that the investment is cared for and maintained into the future. So I do have a document I can share if desired. Alan, I don't know how to do that. I also emailed it to you just in case. But I can speak to it while we're waiting on that. So just a reminder, because this grant has been through its 3 years, that the rehab and restoration of the growing center, which is city-owned property, which is, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to do this.
There you go. Pretty good.
Yeah, you can see that? All right.
Yep.
I can't see you anymore, but so it's city-owned property that is managed through a license that this city issues to the Friends of the Community Growing Center, the nonprofit volunteer group. So the goals of this project were to increase in safety and accessibility of the place for all, to expand the recreational accessibility and inclusivity. This included ADA pathways, platforms, increased seating, seasonality, and as I spoke with Alan, also specifically the gardens, because it's a joy to see that the investment that has been made to date is actually bearing fruit. And so we have been engaging more members of the community, particularly young people, including groups like the Next Wave Full Circle Alternative High School and the SHIP program, which serves students with significant physical disabilities who are now coming down the hill from the high school. And now I'm but and we're also trying to do safe and stable infrastructure. And so the elements that are being completed or need to be completed include completing the increase of storage on site, which is part of the original grant, through these garden sheds, storage for the trash and recycling to ensure, again, that it's safe, aka rodent proof. And again, they're reinforcing the keeping the composting area safe and rodent proof, having some animal proof bins to store materials. There is a tree, we had an elm tree that died of Dutch elm beetle disease, and so that needs to be removed. There were some concrete footings to be removed, but they were pending the sheds, so that all worked together. I had mentioned getting in some additional to complete our raised garden area, beds, including one specific wheelchair bed, and then just some general tools for that activity. A little bit of work to complete the pergola project, which was added last year and has been put to good use. And this is for us in the middle area to have a shade cover. And then working with some landscape architects to complete a few last minute items with placing some granite that was donated to finish off some of the youth areas for seating and activity. And fixing a few areas of the 38 pathway which have experienced some erosion, et cetera. So there's a number of those, again, punch list activities. And then a finalized maintenance plan once things are in place.
So I think I think I figured out the echoes coming from someone on the phone. So if whoever's on the phone, mute themselves.
Oh,
So let me see. Sorry, you can continue, but if whoever's calling in, you can just go on mute. That would be great.
so it is hard. I guess.
Wait, just a quick question for Alan. Do you know how to do the meeting on the phone? Is it a special like pound something? You may not know how to do it.
Is that better?
No, unfortunately, I can't see the phone attendees. So I think is Eleanor on the line?
Seems to have stopped now.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Yes. Thank you. It's hard to talk and hear that. So just in summary, that those expenses come to about 29,000. Alan double checked and confirmed that the remaining disbursement schedule is down to that last 10%, which is the 38,000. So Arn told me to add a percentage for unexpected sort of costs to come up. But I'm giving you the number as it exists at the moment, based on real costs and having vendors at least come to give estimates. A number of vendors do not have any time in their schedules till August or September. So hence the sort of the moving out of the calendar for that work. Any questions or clarifications that I can offer now that we're not echoing?
Thank you for being patient with the echo. Would it, and I'll ask Alan and the other members, just to be on the safe side, would you want to request a longer extension just to really make sure that you're, covered?
That probably is reasonable. I mean, I was putting like the extra month and a half, but I would say, through the end of 21. Just that extra.
I think that's reasonable. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's reasonable as long as you're sure you don't need another spring season, that we'll get this in.
I certainly hope not. I mean, luckily the majority of the work is done and is being put to use. I really just want to make sure that we don't, I think the work needs to be done this fall as much as possible. So that is my hope, but I do appreciate the making provisions that things can take longer than anticipated, as this year has showed us.
I think the year-end date's good.
Henry, can you remind us, it was originally scheduled to end when?
Well, technically May. I had it written down as June in my get this done by, but I think that's just because I was focused on trying to get it done by June. And so I had had some communications with Judith about like, how's our dates, what's going on, and then we sort of lost a chunk of time. So we're a bit in catch-up mode.
Okay. Any other questions for Lisa?
I just have two comments. I agree with the sentiment of extending the scope of the grant. And if there's no harm in extending it through, next June, Ellen, I'd encourage you to do that, Lisa. And then I agree with Ann's comment about adding in contingency. I've worked on too many projects like this where, you're trying to kind of round it to the closest dollar, but I don't think that's necessarily realistic, especially in the kind of environment we're operating now with supply chains and such, that you're going to need a little buffer. So I would add, 15 or 20% contingency to this number.
Which gets us just about
To the remaining funds. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think, we have to go to the council for approval regardless. So it makes all the sense in the world to just push it out to maybe June 30th, 22. And there's no harm in finishing the contract early.
That's
So,
what I was just, as long as we can do that, that makes really good sense. Not to have to come.
Yeah, it's not like you have to wait till the end of the contract to disperse the funds. So I think it makes all the sense in the world to push it out as far as we can.
Okay. So June 21, recognizing that this total I've shared with you is the bare bones without the contingency. So adding did you say 20%, Andrew?
To be on the safe side, sure.
Yeah, that's in line with what Arn had suggested. So
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah.
So
So go ahead, Heather.
I was going to make a movement. Are we ready for that? So I make a move to approve the extension through June 2022 with a 20% contingency on top of this, and that's the movement.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. I will take a roll call and see who's in favor. Starting with me, I'll say aye, and then Andrew
Yes.
and Tatiana
Yes.
and Christina,
Yes.
Eleanor
Yes.
and Jahan,
Yes.
and I think that's everyone.
Who
Well, I'm
seconded the
here,
motion,
Alan,
please?
and I say yes,
Okay,
too.
I'm sorry. All right, and that's everyone. So motion passes.
I'm sorry. Who seconded the motion? I'm
It
sorry.
was Rose.
That's Rose, yeah.
All right. Next up, we have.
thank you, everyone.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the time and the presentation, the careful notes, and putting up with the echo.
And I look
That's
forward
hard.
to working with Roberta
Good luck.
and you all.
Okay, so we're ready to move on to the pre-application update. Andrew.
Ellen, are you going to make me a presenter so I can share my screen? Also, I think Arn said he was going to join to talk about the acquisition fund, but I don't see him on here.
Do you want to move on to something else, circle back in case he's coming?
Perhaps what we can do, we've got some echo again. Hello? Can whoever's on their phone mute their phone? Okay, I think it's gone. No, let's go ahead. I'm just going to pause my screen real quick. So I'll present on, so PSUP is sponsoring 3 applications, or we've submitted 3 pre-applications for this upcoming funding round. One of the projects many of you are already familiar with, and that is the Open Space Acquisition Fund, which the CPA has funded in the past couple of years. We will probably be putting in a request for $100,000. I think last year we did $50,000, but we're hoping to kind of bump that up a little bit this year, considering some of the other asks, which are a little bit smaller than some of the asks that have been made in the past. And just, I think everybody knows what that is, but we're trying to build up a fund of money that can be used to acquire property that can be converted into open space in the future. I think we all are aware that of the high price of land within our very small 4 square mile city. So we really see this as a big priority for open space acquisition moving forward, to really move towards the summer vision goals and meet our larger citywide open space goals. So unless there are any other questions on the acquisition fund, I'll move on to the other 2. Okay, so the other 2 projects are the Glen Street Community Garden expansion and the Somerville Junction Park expansion and renovation. I'll start with the Glen Street Community Garden expansion project. So I'm just going to quickly start sharing my screen. Can everyone see this? Hello?
I see something that says 5 Palmer Ave.
Give me a minute. Okay, how about now? You should see an aerial image.
Yeah, I can see Glen Park in the middle.
Okay, excellent. So just to kind of orient you to the site, this is a Capuano school. I'm sure most of you should be familiar with this area. This is McGrath Highway up in this area. So a couple of years ago, the city acquired a residential property which was located here on Palmer Ave. Alan, I think your phone might not be muted, and I can hear my echo. Okay, so Palmer Ave is this small little residential street that we are proposing to abandon and convert this residential lot and Palmer Ave into an expansion of this existing Glen Street Community Garden.
What is standing on the lot at present, the residential lot?
It's as you actually saw in that aerial photo, Alan. The house has been demolished, so it's a vacant lot, and Palmer Ave is just an asphalt street that is proposed to be abandoned. So this is kind of the basic concept for what we're planning to do. This is a first pass. We don't have survey information. We are commissioning a survey of the land to kind of truth out this concept. But what we're proposing to do is abandon this short section of Palmer Ave, have a little accessible parking area and utility area down at kind of the mouth where the street is now. We'd repave all of this area so that it's fully ADA and Massachusetts Architectural Access Board compliant. And then we'd include a couple of raised bed planters that would be fully accessible. There currently aren't any raised bed planters in this garden, this community garden, to the best of my knowledge. And then we'd also expand some of the non-raised beds into the location of the former house. So again, this is super preliminary, kind of just based on some early conversations. The scope of the project would also include fencing, kind of basic fencing between the community garden and the school, as well as maybe a little kind of passive use area, a bench and a tree, and other amenities that would serve the community garden needs. For example, any water connections or utilities that we might need. Potentially a composting area kind of in this service location.
Question for you, Andrew.
Yes.
The paving, what is the paving that you're proposing for there?
Again, this is definitely still kind of pre-application level. I think we preliminary are thinking asphalt paving, but that could be subject to change as we get the survey back and begin to kind of advance that design concept a little further.
Yeah, because the city is more in favor of a permeable paver rather than the asphalt paving, which is non-permeable to let water into the water table.
Sure, absolutely. We could definitely think about using porous unit pavers for some of the area that that isn't the parking area. Even in the parking area, we could consider doing porous asphalt.
Yeah, because
we'll have to
permeable pavers for that too.
We'll have to see how that kind of pencils out with the budget. But I think we're looking at around a request around $200,000. But again, we kind of need to revisit the budget on that before we formalize that application request. And that's for construction dollars. We're doing the design in-house.
So Andrew, just a quick question. So when the proposal's prepared, I would love to hear some more about kind of like the demographics of who the gardeners are and just sort of some of the social benefits of it. I'd also love to just know a little bit about how those lots are assigned and how people get them and that kind of stuff. So I'd be curious to hear about that when you're ready, when the full application comes in.
So those are all really good questions. I'll make sure that we research that thoroughly and kind of have answers for those questions.
That I was going to ask the same thing, Heather. Thank you for asking that, and just also the demographics, but also is it the neighbor? How many how many folks in the neighbor? How many people are walking to the garden and using it versus coming from across town? And does this expansion allow us to serve more people in the neighborhood?
Absolutely.
I'll just add the Conservation Commission runs the community garden program. So we have a voluntary community garden coordinator on board who liaisons with all of the community garden co-leads. So if you do have those types of questions, you could send those to me. And I could find out some more information. I'm not sure we have, true demographic information, and addresses are private information, but we could find out, some of the general feedback about that particular garden.
Thanks, Christina. Yeah, I might lean on you a little bit to kind of do some of the legwork on some of that information.
Sure.
Any other questions on Glen Street Community Garden?
One other question.
It looks great.
Go ahead, Rose.
I just was going to say it's an exciting opportunity and it looks great, and it's awesome that it's right there, that this expansion opportunity is there.
And I was going to add, if the proposal could address the design process, like is there going to be an inclusive process with the gardeners in terms of, you know, do they want a larger area for Harvest Festival? You know, I don't know, just
Yeah,
what
we
that
definitely
process is
need
gonna
to
look like.
at least have a community meeting or two to kind of, you know, make sure that this, you know, aligns with the vision of the community and the gardeners. So we'll definitely be thinking about that.
I have a general question. I just wanted to clarify again. Is the city the applicant on these 3 projects you're describing? Are you partnering with a nonprofit group?
At this point, to the best of my knowledge, the city is going to be the applicant on each of these projects.
Yeah, the city will be the applicant. We actually acquired this plot a couple of years ago, so it's city land.
Thank you.
Okay, shall I move on to Somerville Junction Park? Okay, I'm going to do a similar thing, trying to share my screen here to orient you all to the site. Okay, can everyone see this? So just to kind of, again, give you a little bit of context about where we are. This is kind of Winter Hill. This is Winter Hill Community Innovation School over here. This is the location of the new Green Line extension that's coming through the city. This is Central Street down through here. Some of you might be familiar with Hoyt Sullivan Playground. So Somerville Junction Park is an existing park on the other side of the tracks here. This was a project that was constructed back in 2008. It was partially a environmental cleanup. EPA was involved with removing some contaminants from the site, and it was kind of a cap and park type of a project. It was just some minor passive park improvements. There's some benches out there, some trees. It's primarily used as a dog park. I'm not sure if anyone is kind of too familiar with the site. But this is going to be a super important project for the city because with the Green Line extension, the community path is going to be coming along through what is currently this parking area for Somerville Hospital. It comes down through the parking lot, down this path, and then continues down through this area. So this is really one of the few larger open spaces along the community path within Somerville. And we're really excited about the opportunity and potential for what the Somerville Junction Park could really become. So we are looking at abandoning this or terminating this parking easement that currently exists with Somerville Hospital, CHA, and expanding the park into this parking area. I'm going to just show you a couple of photos of the site. Give me a second. Wrong one. Sorry about this, folks. Got too many things open here. Okay, can everyone see that image?
No.
It's just the blue screen, Andrew.
You see that?
Okay.
Yep.
How about now?
No.
Yes.
No, yes?
Yeah,
See-
there's a
There's a bench. Yeah, okay. So these are just a couple of existing conditions photos. We were out there a couple of weeks ago. This is kind of how the site exists today. You can actually see that there's a construction fence along this edge because the GLX contractor is using the parking area as a staging area for the construction of the Green Line extension project. But you can kind of see in this gap here is where the community path is going to kind of come through or enter into the space. And you get a sense of what the existing park looks like today. So this is kind of turning around and looking in the opposite direction. This is Central Street. You can see at the end, you can see how they're using this for staging at the moment. All of this is going to go away once the Green Line extension work is done. And that community path comes along the edge here, and then we'll actually go through this repaved parking area. I'll just kind of flip through some of these existing condition photos. You can see that there's existing fencing all along this edge, and it's really like what we jokingly call a retaining fence. So one of the things that this project is going to have to do is kind of look at this edge condition and probably put in place a small retaining wall to kind of address the grade difference between the residential lots and the park. I'll just quickly flip through a couple of these other photos so you can kind of get a sense of the space. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? The Junction Park design concept. Just for a little bit of background, Public Space and Urban Forestry is currently putting together a park grant application to the state for $400,000 in preliminary construction funding. We see this as probably a winter design project. So the ask from CPA is actually at this point not going to be for construction money, but actually for design dollars that we would use to hire design professionals to kind of officially design this space. But this is the basic design concept that we're proposing, that we'll have the kind of existing community path that goes through the park and really kind of serves as the spine of the space. We are proposing to make some small improvements to the existing passive park you see there. And then we're hoping to add a couple of different site amenities, but this is all really subject to a community process that will be starting on July 7th. We have just started advertising the preliminary community input meeting for July 7th. That will be advertised broadly. I encourage you all to attend if you're available. And that initial meeting is really just going to be kind of a listening exercise to hear about what the community kind of wants to see happen with the space. So we are putting some ideas out there, a potential for expanding community garden. That would be a pretty good use for this type of space. Potentially a fitness area, that's a pretty good synergistic use associated with the community path, and potentially also a splash pad. And the thinking there is a little bit related to the grant funding that we're seeking from the state. They're really trying to encourage water play or water recreation. So we're really thinking about that as a use to kind of encourage this as a place to bring kids. And I think that's also another good kind of synergistic use with that existing passive park. So we're probably going to be putting in a CPA ask for around $100,000, which will go towards funding the design, landscape architecture and engineering fees associated with the project. And that would also include a full community process, probably 3 community meetings to kind of hash out the goals for the project and share designs with the community. So I'll stop sharing my screen and kind of open it up to questions.
Andrew, I'm just curious myself, just looking at the drawing, and I'm not very good at these drawings. Is this going to blend in directly to the community path? Will they kind of just be like side by side, or is there like an elevation difference or a separation difference?
So there is an existing kind of slope elevation difference between the passive park and the community path. I think, Alan, that's getting kind of way ahead of where we are now. If you look at the condition out there today, the parking lot's a pretty flat condition, but we'd definitely be open to any ideas that the design team would come up with in terms of making sure that those uses are compatible with each other. So it could be potential for grade differences, but I'm not going to kind of speculate too much about the direction we would go with that.
Andrew, do you know the nature of the agreement that we've got with the CHA for the parking lot? Is that it's not a permanent easement, so it's just a temporary easement?
No, so what was Somerville Hospital, I believe it's now CHA, used to own that land, but it was transferred to the city a couple of years ago, and part of that transfer was this parking easement. We have a temporary agreement in place with them that essentially allows the MBTA to use that land for staging for the GLX construction. But as part of this project, the city would terminate that agreement with CHA to kind of take this over as and reclaim or claim it as parkland. And I have kind of started that discussion with the city's law department about kind of what that would mean. But to my knowledge, the CHA is aware of this, and there's been discussion around this before now.
And you haven't heard of any pushback or flack from them about the space?
I don't believe so.
Other questions, comments?
We're provisionally estimating kind of a construction budget around $1 million, well, including the $100,000 or so in professional fees. So we're likely to come to CPA again next funding round to ask for additional construction dollars for this project. So that's kind of something to have on the radar. And then the gap in funding would either be kind of a bond provision that we go and ask City Council for if we can't secure that funding through other grant sources.
And
Thanks. One more question.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead, Laura.
Sure. And what was the amount that you believe you'll request this round?
We're going to be requesting $100,000 for full design and engineering services, schematic design through construction administration.
And the only other thing that are there parts of the design, just thinking about, this is not my area of expertise, but just thinking about the land and it being this close to the Green Line extension, and the Green Line extension being sort of farther along than where this park is. Are there things that the city would have to talk about with the Green Line extension team ahead of time as they're doing
That's a really good question. Yeah, really good question. So thankfully the city has a GLX coordinator who is within OSBCD, and I've already had a conversation with her. She indicated to me that at this time they're expecting the MBTA contractor to be done on the site by the end of the year. Now, I'm not sure if you read the news today, but it was a big announcement that MBTA has delayed parts of the Green Line extension by 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm not sure at this point how that factors into that discussion that I had with Viola. I will be following up with her about that. This project's going to happen. It's going to happen one way or another. So, you know, likely we will wait for all the Green Line extension work and the community path work to be completed before construction begins. But we do need to kind of get on the same page about schedule and how it's going to how those projects are going to marry. That's a really good question. The other thing to note kind of related to that question is that we will need what's called a license agreement with the MBTA, which, you know, for any project that abutting project that is within what the MBTA calls its zone of influence, which is about a 30 strip foot of land abutting the MBTA right of way. We have to go and get their permission to do this type of project, and that permitting process takes about 4 months. So that is something we're also kind of thinking about in relation to this project.
Any other questions?
I look
Comments?
forward to seeing the applications when they're done.
Great,
Yes.
thanks for the opportunity to present.
Yeah, thank you for the details. It's interesting and exciting to hear about it and kind of visualize it, you know, with the pictures and everything. That helps. Okay. The next, Alan, you were going to present that calendar, right? The upcoming events calendar?
Yep. So I think either Andrew has to make me presenter again, or I can see if I can make myself presenter. So let me see if I can. Do you guys all see this document, Somerville Arts Council events?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, basically, based on our last meeting, you know, there was a lot of talk about, you know, obviously we had a low turnout this year for the survey. And, you know, also we just in the city in general, not just for CPA projects, but just in general, we want to make sure we're doing, you know, as much outreach as we can, and especially like in underserved areas. So a couple things I just wanted to highlight in these slides. These are some of the major public events that are starting to come, you know, get scheduled again now with the COVID restrictions. COVID restrictions winding down. So I wanted to give everyone the opportunity as a committee, at least to kick off the conversation tonight. If you know, if we want to split these up, if anyone wants to volunteer, I can go through some of them. So I know ones that are heavily attended. So these are pictures from Art Beat and Porch Fest. I don't know quite how we, you know, table at a Porch Fest, but I'm sure we could figure something out. So there's Fluff Festival on here, which is Union Square, Summer Streets, and then on the next page here, which is probably where we can do some more targeted outreach in some of the neighborhoods where we want a bigger presence. We have the farmers markets, and then especially the mobile farmers markets, which is run by the health department of the city. And they have, you know, I think weekly stops at the East Somerville Community School, the North Street Housing Development, the Mystic Housing Development. So, you know, it might be a good idea to maybe take a Friday or a Saturday and try to get some outreach while the mobile farmers market is out. But I basically just wanted to make everyone aware of these dates and then just open it up to a discussion amongst yourselves of, like, you know, if anyone wants to volunteer to take you know, just be out there with the table and just take the survey. We can do the pom-poms again. I'm going to talk to Kristen, see where that is in the office, or you know, maybe we just hand out some other type of survey. But you know, especially in the underserved neighborhoods, I think it might make more sense to do the direct outreach. And certainly, you know, Roberta, I'll put Roberta on task to see if there are other either digital or other mailings or other things we can do to target those neighborhoods as well. But I know in the past, I know Laura's mentioned that she's tabled at events, so I just wanted to make everyone aware of the dates and allow you the opportunity to just have a quick discussion on it.
Thank you. That's a comprehensive list. I didn't know about the Kite Festival. Never heard of that.
I didn't
before.
either.
That's new. I think that's new.
I have no idea what the Kite Festival is, but.
But do we want to kind of, I don't know, we set up some sort of like Google sign up sheet, like first identify which ones we feel are the most important ones to get to, and then set up some sort of online volunteer list so that people can plug in on dates that they're free?
Yeah, I don't think we have to have a super long discussion on this right now. I more wanted to get the dates and times out. And then, yeah, I can have Roberta maybe set up like a doodle poll or some sort of like Google sign up. She and I will talk about maybe what the best opportunities are. In terms of some of our outreach neighborhoods that we want to get to that we haven't had the best responses from in the past. I think the mobile farmers markets might make the most sense. And I can talk to some of the arts people, some of the arts council people and see, what events they think are the most heavily attended. I know Honk is heavily attended, but it's also heavily attended by a lot of non-Somerville residents.
Yeah,
yeah. So, that one might not be the best. Art beat too?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's huge. And it's Somerville residents also. But I think I'd agree that trying to target the neighborhood farmers markets is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just, I wanted you to have the dates and times. And, I can certainly have Roberta coordinate amongst all of you. And we can figure out, if the pom-poms are the best survey mechanism or what that is. But that's all I really had.
Okay, great. Yeah, that I think a sign-up sheet would be great. That there's certain things that I know that I've done before that I'd be happy to do again once the sheet's there.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. I feel like this is super responsive to the conversation we had last time. I especially think those mobile farmers market opportunities could be especially helpful. The other thing I would also encourage you to look into, or Roberta, when you get going, is whether any of the other housing developments and affordable housing projects in the city have other events that the residents of those communities attend. I know that I attended one of those events at the Mystic Housing Community a couple of years ago. It was like a barbecue. And I think that those types of events could be extremely tabling opportunities for us to get out there. And I certainly would be glad to volunteer my time to do that.
Yeah, North Street has done them in the past too, actually. And one thing I remember from tabling at North Street is that I wished I was a more fluent Spanish speaker. I don't know if anybody in this committee speaks Spanish. I can kind of, but I can't understand it. I can speak it. I lose a lot when I listen. So, something I'll put out there.
I'm sure we can also find somebody at the city who might be a Spanish speaker or Portuguese speaker or Creole speaker to bring.
Yeah, we can also work with our SAI team to, have a liaison there with you, an interpretive liaison there with you. Yeah, so that's a good idea, Andrew, because they're always, volunteering their services. So we could definitely do that.
Great.
Can you go back to the first list of dates where I'm just wondering, because we don't meet again until the end of July, if there's anything we want to pick out in the July that we think is important before our next meeting?
There's art, and then there's some of these mobile farmers markets will start after that first week, which are on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah, I agree that Art Beat might be a little too crazy to actually have a conversation with people. I don't know, that the farmer's market sort of lends itself more to actually connecting.
Yeah, I think I'd second that actually. Having experienced both. Well, maybe that could be one of Roberta's earlier tasks, is to put the sheet together with the July farmers market, mobile markets, they're called, those dates on Fridays and Saturdays, and see if we have some takers. Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea.
That sounds great.
Terrific. No, we got echoes again, but I think we're getting close to the end. Anything else on the community events calendar? Okay, then other business.
So I will turn it over to Laura and so Chair Laura and Vice Chair Heather. But I think and this works well for myself too, obviously, with Roberta just starting on the 6th. I think we wanted to survey the committee whether we wanted to move the July meeting from the 21st to the 28th. And if I did that, I think it would be good too, just because the position has been vacant for a couple months. I would like to extend the eligibility form application date from the 12th to the 19th. And so, I would present everyone with the eligibility form on the 28th to vote on projects that can then move forward with full applications.
So I guess, does that work for people? It was formally, this next meeting was scheduled for the 3rd Wednesday, and I'm not sure why. But with Roberta just starting, and I so happen to be out of town until Wednesday, the 21st, Alan and I and Heather discussed the possibility of bumping it a week for both those reasons, if that's okay with the rest of the committee.
Yes.
That works okay for me.
Great.
I think I spoke to Eleanor. I think that might work for her as well. I think she might be out of town that week as well.
Yes.
So if there's
Okay.
I
anyone
don't think we
who does
necessarily
not
have to vote
work
on this.
for it, is there anyone who it does
What?
not work for? All right, but then do we move, does this become a motion, or do we just?
I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to vote on that. It's not. I think I can just.
Do it.
I'll get it reflected on the city calendar. I'll. We have plenty of time for the open meeting law requirements, so I think I can just move this, and I'll send you a confirmatory email tomorrow. But well, actually, I'm out tomorrow, but I will send a confirmatory email next week.
Okay. Terrific.
And just on the point of schedule, for the group's benefit, I wanted to review that August is the month that we do not meet. So that is no meeting in August. And then the next meeting after that will be September 22nd. And that's when we receive the full applications, and the sort of actively reviewing application process kicks in the months of September, October, November. So, so after the July meeting, there'll be the break, and then we'll be into grant season.
High gear, right. Thank you for that, Heather. Any other business? Okay, then.
Difficulties tonight. I appreciate it.
Great. So next meeting already established. Does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn? I think we can do that.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
Rose. Second by Andrew. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So it is 7:50 on June 23rd, and the meeting is formally adjourned, we'll say. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night all.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Where's my leave the meeting button? Here we are.